the day my son was murdered, we went to a football clinic in Pasadena. They had this football clinic that's for elite high schoolers that should go to Division I. So we were there Sunday morning like we always do. On the way home, he asked me, could he go to the mall? And I heard him, but I ignored him because I wanted to say no, because you don't want the kids leaving the house. As long as they're with you, you feel safe. You feel like they're going to be okay. And I remember ignoring him and didn't say nothing. And then he waited for about a half hour later, asked me again. And I said, oh, who you going with? You know, he said, so it's this friend I knew of. He was a good kid, knew his parents. I said, okay. And the reason why I said okay was weird because that night, Saturday night, he asked me, could he go to a party? And I said, no. And he said, I said, you want to know why? He said, I know, I might get shot. He was like, man, Dad, you think everybody's out here shooting?
The murder of Jamiel Shaw II occurred on March 2, 2008, in Arlington Heights, Los Angeles, California. Shaw, a 17-year-old Los Angeles high school football player, was shot by two Hispanic men while returning home from the Beverly Center. Shaw was taken to a hospital, where he later died.
So yeah, he went to LA High School. He was a good student, you know, very popular, very good in sports. He played football, he played track. He was a good kid, never got in trouble, never been in trouble with the police, never been suspended from school, never had any trouble with gangs. I asked him a few times, anyone ever asked you to join a gang? He said, no, they know I'm an athlete. He said, I got a free pass. That's how he saw it.
Pedro Espinoza was born in 1989 in Mexico. At the age of 3, his family moved from Mexico to Los Angeles, California, but never tried obtaining citizenship. Because of this, Pedro remained growing up in the United States as an illegal immigrant. Growing up on the rough streets of LA, surrounded by poverty and gangs, Pedro ended up joining the 18th Street Mexican gang at a young age. The streets raised him, and he vowed to do whatever he needed to do for his gang. Just for a little background, Pedro was convicted and sent to jail after he was busted for confronting a man by the name of Samuel Durant while armed at a park. After spending almost a year in jail, Pedro was released on March 1st, 2008.
Pedro Espinoza was in jail for assaulting, assault with a deadly weapon. He pulled a gun on someone in a park in Culver City. The police were called, and he ran from the police, resisted arrest. He was hiding in someone's backyard. They found him, found a gun. Got a battery on a peace officer, assault with a deadly weapon, gun charges. So he was sentenced only to 8 months, which is ridiculous. 8 months for a gun charge and all that stuff. They let him out early, of course, you know, it's overcrowded, we feel sorry for him. They let him out 4 months early on March the 1st. March the 2nd, he was over here murdering people. And
Pedro was out driving in rival gang territory where the Black Peastone Bloods resided, and he was with fellow gang members Joel Rodriguez and Yesenia Sanchez. It was now 8:40 at night, and that is when Jamiel was spotted by Pedro Espinoza and his fellow gang members. They noticed that Jamiel was wearing a red Spider-Man backpack and assumed he was a Blood member. Little did they know, Jamiel had a collection of Spider-Man backpacks and was just a fan of the franchise. Unaware that Jamiel was not a gang member, Pedro and Joel got out of their white vehicle and confronted Jamiel. They asked Jamiel what gang he belonged to, and when he did not respond fast enough, they shot him first in the stomach, which caused Jamiel to fall on the ground, face down. Instead of holding his stomach where he had just been shot, Jamiel put his hands behind his head in order to protect his head, but Pedro shot him through Jamiel's hands, and it went through his hands into his head.
True. I woke up about 7:15. Oh, he wasn't home. So I called him. Said, where you at? He said, I'm on my way. I said, why you didn't call me? I would have picked you up. He said, no, we're cool. We're safe. So I'll be there in about 2 or 3 minutes. I said, okay. Told the little brother, get your clothes on. Jazz almost here. Getting ready to take off. All of a sudden, play out. Woo, I remember that. Wow, that was close. Because it sounded real crispy. I remember saying, damn. And then I had this pain right here in my chest. I was like, don't tell me this boy just got shot. I remember saying that.
Jamiel was so close to home that his father, Jamiel Sr., heard the gunshots from inside of the house and immediately ran outside after hearing them. He spotted his son lying on the cement and waited with him until paramedics arrived and transported him to the hospital. Jamiel was pronounced dead at 9:55 p.m.
I came outside, stood on the walkway, and just peeked down the street. Woo! Just even right now, it just eats me up inside. I see him just laying there. I'm like, what the? And I could see something was wrong. I remember saying to myself, look, what's that on his forehead? Because I couldn't, but his eyes he was laying down, facing toward me with his eyes closed, looked asleep, didn't even look traumatized. And I went running down the street couldn't believe it. Even right now, it's just so unbelievable because I could see that vision, and it is just so unreal to see him laying there with that peaceful face, but his body, that's what really shook me up, was his body looked so gone. I remember just this, gone. This body, the man, I never seen his body look that limp. Because when you're a parent, you get up in the morning, look at your kid's bed, and, you know, just being a parent. You do it before if you have kids. And I looked at him, man, and I could not believe what I was seeing, and I was just bonkers. I was out of there screaming, who the hell did that?
Although she did not testify on the stand, Yesenia stated that when Pedro got back in the car after shooting Jamiel, he said, "I'm a killer-like kid." He was proud of what he did. Attorney Ostrowski did her research and found out that Pedro was a part of the clique Alcase within the 18th Street Gang, and in the area, they were known as an elite murder gang. In court, Pedro was even sporting a short haircut that exposed his BK tattoo, which meant blood killer. Prosecution also focused on how Jamiel was a respectful young man who had a promising future. The defense team was led by attorney Kasabi Palfi. He questioned why fellow gang member Joel Rodriguez was not being tried for killing Jamiel when he too was involved in the murder. Attorney Palfi felt that it was not fair to have Pedro take all of the blame. He admitted that Pedro was a gang member, but told the jury that just because he was an 18th Street gang member, it did not mean he committed the murder. Defense also brought up the fact that the murder weapon was never recovered because the search warrant was conducted 12 days after the murder, but prosecution said that was more than enough time to get rid of any evidence.
Espinoza was formally charged with first-degree murder. He was convicted on May 9, 2012. The guilty verdict also included special circumstances, which made Espinoza eligible for the death penalty. On May 23, 2012, the jury sentenced Espinoza to death. In 2009, the Shaw family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Los Angeles County and Sheriff Lee Baca. The suit also alleged negligence, violation of the Immigration and Nationality Act, and deprivation of civil rights.
In 2010, Los Angeles Superior Court Judge Charles Palmer ruled that the people being sued were immune from the action and dismissed the lawsuit. Question: do you think it is fair for officials to be immune from lawsuits like this? This case also gained national attention because it made for a controversial political debate. Pedro was an immigrant who was in and out of prison but was never deported. After this case gained attention, Special Order 40, although already created in 1979, was now enforced again. Special Order 40 states that officers are not allowed to initiate police action with the objective of discovering the alien status of a person, and officers shall not arrest nor book persons for violation of the United States Immigration Code. This code protected illegal immigrants, and officials said it would make immigrants feel more comfortable in reaching out to police if they needed to report a crime or person. They felt that it would strengthen the community, and people would feel more comfortable with not being deported for communication with the police. The Shaw family supported Jamiel's law, which would rescind Special Order 40, but in 2009, mayoral candidate Walter Moore, who supported Jamiel's law, did not get enough signatures to support the law. Because the Shaw family felt as if they were not being heard, they ended up supporting Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential campaign and even spoke at some Trump rallies. Donald Trump was not okay with Pedro Espinoza's history and thought America should do better when it came to immigration and crime. The Shaw family supported Trump's immigration policies because they were cracking down on deporting immigrants and disallowing certain groups of people from becoming citizens and blocking some from entering America. People against this policy thought it was unfair to deport innocent illegal immigrants who had been working hard and/or have not committed any crimes.
The Sheriff Department had him in their custody, let him out on a Saturday night with no supervision, like at a YMCA camp. See you next year, Pedro. You know, let him out. Nobody called ICE. Nobody checked his records. Nobody did nothing. Just let him out into the community, knowing he had offenses long as his arm. He had like 4 gun charges. He stabbed somebody, put the school on lockdown, found out he has 4 cases in Santa Clara County that they're keeping hush-hush. They don't want to know because he was a juvenile at the time. My son was murdered by a illegal alien gangbanger. If y'all can't get a case on that alone, then what the hell you in here for?